am pleased to introduce our first speaker for this evening. He is a dynamic guest presenter. This is Victor Vonico Johnson, an inspirational speaker, published author, real estate investor, serial entrepreneur, and credit coach. He spent 20 plus years in leadership roles for debt collection agencies and call centers, where he successfully collected more than $100 million in debt and resolved over 75,000 transactions. Victor has an intimate understanding of the traits that cause people to live in a cycle of debt and how to deal with debt, debt collectors, the credit reporting industry. Victor has mastered the steps required to not only improve one's credit, but also the mindset needed to stay out of debt. He educates his audiences on uncommon ways of improving credit scores and how to grow wealth through real estate investing. Please join me in welcoming Victor Johnson.
Thank you guys so much. So before we even get started, I'm probably gonna irritate you for something real quickly. Like, this is an invite only, right? So everybody kind of knows each other already. So I'm gonna ask you to do a quick icebreaker with me. It does require a little bit of physical movement. So I'm gonna ask you, if you don't mind, take that quick last bite for a second. We're gonna do a quick exercise. I'm gonna ask everybody to stand up with me, please, please, please. I'm so sorry. This is, then you can sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Everybody stand up, and if you've seen this exercise before, just play along, okay? We're gonna stretch up. Put your hands up as high as you can. Let's go. High as you can. Okay, I see a few people. All right, I see you, I see you. All right, give me a little bit more. Stretch a little higher. See you there? All right, put your hands down. Y'all sit down. Y'all gave me a little bit more the second time. I asked you to give me it all the first time, you see? So, yes, sir. Let me get into my presentation here, guys. Thank you so much for participating. I actually saw that exercise done at a repossession vendors convention. I used to manage collection agencies, and we put cars out for repossession. And I went to a vendor meeting one day, and they had, many of you may have heard of a gentleman named Denver Rourke. He is a former Navy SEAL. He was a producer and director of Act of Valor, a movie that's out there. If you haven't seen it, great story about how our Navy SEALs have went out there and protected us. But he did this exercise with a bunch of repo men and had everybody stretching. And he said, all right, give me a little bit more. And everybody stretched their hands a little bit higher. And I was just so shocked by that. And the one thing I wanted to take away from that is we all have a little bit more to give, right? Yep. You know, all of you guys are up to something. And I want you to remember that exercise. Are you really giving those extra 2 inches that you got inside you to stretch out and accomplish your goals? So keep that in mind as we talk today, and as I tell you my brief story. And I had a full-on presentation laid out, but I really just want to share my story with you guys today because it is one that's a little unique. You know, I grew up in low-income neighborhoods in Oakland, California, but it's not the story that you think you're going to hear today. You know, I didn't have to fight through gang violence. I didn't have to fight through bullets. I didn't get shot 9 times like 50 Cent or somebody like that. What I did was basically just grew up with a single mom. I grew up with a single mother, and basically what we're going to talk about today is how I was able to create my future self. And I want to share with you maybe some things that will inspire you to create your future self. Because I'm about as normal of a dude that you will ever meet. No college degree. I grew up again in these neighborhoods. And again, today, this is what I have to offer. You know, I'm a credit coach, published speaker, published author, and all those good things. I have 6 rental properties across 3 states, but that's not where my story starts at all, right? And so hopefully I'll be able to inspire you guys. I do want to talk about my childhood very briefly because, again, I grew up in California. During that time in Oakland, California, it was a lot of police brutality, things going on. So I did have to navigate a lot of little weird instances in my life. But the biggest thing that I had to overcome was poverty because my mom worked for cash. She didn't teach me about credit. She didn't teach me about saving. In fact, I remember having a conversation with my mother when I was 15 years old. I said, so Mom, what's the plan when you turn 60 or whatever and you're ready to retire? What you talking about? You're my retirement plan. Victor, you're the plan. I'm putting everything into you so that I don't have to worry about retirement and IRAs and all this stuff. So to this day, I'm still her retirement plan, and I've actually helped her invest in some rental properties in Kansas City. So that's now her retirement plan, all right? But this is where our story started. Anybody ever heard of government cheese? Not government cheese, government cheese. If you have never had government cheese, best grilled cheese sandwich of your life. I ate government cheese for at least 17 years of my life because we were getting food stamps, welfare, all of this stuff. And again, you may be thinking to yourself, well, where was your father at this time? What was he doing? Well, my dad was married when I was born, but not to my mom. My mom was a side piece. And I'm just being honest with you, right? So I grew up where my dad wasn't really involved with my life a lot. We have a great relationship now, but he wasn't there. And he probably was managing his money a little bit better than my mom was. So unfortunately, I didn't benefit from that until I got older in life. So I started figuring some things out. But I've gone through it all. At 17 years old, I had my first child. My daughter, who's now 27, about to be 28 years old this year. I have a son back there, Jari, with the glasses on. Very proud of him. He's 24, about to be 25. I have a daughter that's 23. I'm gonna be a granddad, guys. Can you believe this young looking guy is about to be a granddad? Come on, get a shot. Granddaddy Vic, all right? I'm not used to it yet either, but one thing that I'll do differently is on that first day that my granddaughter is born, she'll be gifted with a bond. And I'll be able to give her money the first day she comes in this world. She'll have some money to start building from. So I want to talk about the legacy and how I got there. These are some of the adversities that I've overcome, guys. Again, grew up with a single mom. I had 3 kids. None of them I was married to the mom, 2 mothers. My son again is back there, but I had 3 of them by the age of 22, and the litany of issues came from that point on. You know, making money, I was probably making $27,000, $28,000 a year, 20 years old, and trying to figure out how to feed kids now, besides just myself. You know, and of course, it don't take too many paychecks to come where you're now starting to get behind on bills. And you can't keep the lights on because now I got to give some diapers to this mom and then go across town and give diapers to this mother. And just doing things the wrong way, making the wrong decisions. And the thing about it was I continued to go down that path. You know, I was getting good paying jobs, probably making, at one point in my career, I was making about, 50, 60 grand a year at 27 years old. But I was still broke every single payday. And a lot of you are financial advisors. You talk to people living this story. I'm telling you, probably 60% of people out there are either living at paycheck to paycheck level or far below it, which means that they don't even get close to making enough money to pay the bills that they're living off of. So something had to change. I'm raising kids up. They're growing up in front of me. They're watching their dad work hard and do things. But where's the money going? Dad, I want to go to college. I want to start a business one day. I want to get a car. What are you doing, man? How are you going to help me? So this is where my story starts, but it definitely didn't end there. So I do want to talk about this time in my life here in 2008. Very interesting time. Anybody go through any problems in 2008, just by a show of hands, financial problems? Okay, so I wasn't alone. That's good to know. But it does tell me that we all go through some adversity, right? And in 2008, I filed bankruptcy for the first time, and I'm thinking, yes! I can write off all my debt. I don't have to pay these bills anymore. Dang, wait, you mean 8 years of bad debt on top of that? Well, so I can't get a car now? Or the car that I do get, now I gotta pay 30% interest rate on this? Just wasn't the way for me to go. Since that point, I was in collections again, moving up. And with collection agencies, what happens is they get bought out by these venture capitalists. Venture capitalists come in, they throw millions of dollars in it, they're hoping you're gonna collect a whole lot of money, and then all of a sudden you don't hit those margins, and they're out of there. And so there's a swoop of layoffs. And then they'll get another company to come in and buy that company out, and it just goes into a cycle. I got laid off 3 times after the bankruptcy. Enough was enough. I decided to double down on Vic Johnson. Start putting myself into a better position, reading more, putting the logic that I had. I spent 20 years in the debt collection industry, as Ed alluded to in my introduction. And what happened? I was teaching people how to collect that $100 million of debt that he talked about. Managing teams and groups in rooms like this, teaching gentlemen and young ladies how to negotiate debt with people, how to encourage people how to refinance their homes so that they can pay off all their debts by settlement. As soon as I get home, I'm dodging bill collectors. I'm the guy that's teaching people how to get their bills paid or how to make people pay bills, and I got all these bills behind on my own. Very contradictory lifestyle I was living. But once I looked in the mirror and decided to face my own problems, my own mindset issues, really tackle my debts, that's when things started turning around. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the turnaround. Here's where we are today, debt-free, bad debt-free. You know there's a difference. Good debt, I got some mortgages, but I do have all my consumer debt resolved. 5 rental properties in the course of 3 years, full-time entrepreneur, better support for my children, and of course for my dreams. And that's what I'm passionate about. My purpose now is my work. You know, I got to clean up my act, and now the people that I have as clients and people that I mentor, I'm trying to help them avoid the 20 years of heartache that I went through. That 20 years, you know, it's one thing if I had gone to jail or I was in a gang, maybe I could have overcame that real quickly, but you know, 20 years of bad debt, paycheck to paycheck, that has a major toll on your life. If you think about a tire of a tire, and there's a slow leak in that tire, you could probably go 4 or 5 days, never even notice that air is seeping out of that tire. 4 months go by, you can be rolling on 3 wheels, and now the undercarriage of your car is busted up. You know, your axles are broken, and that's the life I was living. I was just letting debt slowly take me down and put me in a position where I couldn't overcome those things. And so again, I started changing my attitude, changed my mindset, and this is what happened in my very first rental property deal. In August of 2015, I had moved from, let me go back a step. In July of 2013, I was working for a company called Title Masters in Atlanta, Georgia. And Title Masters, the owner of that company, has a company called Peachtree Settlement Funding. Peachtree Settlement Funding was bought out by J.G. Wentworth. Anybody heard of that company? J.G. Wentworth buys annuity funds and gives you a small percentage of that if you got to have your money today. I need my money today. Well, you only gonna get 20%. We're gonna take that 80%. Have a good day. We got that check. And when that annuity pays out, that's when they get your money and you don't get that cash. Well, a gentleman named Tim Trankina was part owner of Peachtree Settlement Funding. He sold his portion to J.G. Wentworth. He started a company called Title Masters. Title Masters was a title lending company out of Atlanta, Georgia, and we did title loans, remote title loans. So if the industry wasn't bad enough, because it's usury, 150% interest rate, but we would go meet people at Starbucks, at their houses, at the library, have a technology kit in the car. Let me upload the title to your car. Let me get those check stubs, send it to our underwriting team, and get them approved. Oh man, we got you $700 today, baby. You only got to pay us back $2,500 over the next 6 months and we'll take care of you. Got your $700 today though. Horrible. Never get a title loan, ladies and gentlemen. But what happened was the guy realized that Title Max, the bigger gorilla, you've seen those stores around town. Title Max was the big 10,000-pound gorilla in Atlanta. And so this guy said, man, I don't want to charge 150% interest rate like Title Max does. I'm only going to charge 12.5% on these loans. Well, real quickly, you can kind of figure out if we didn't have a brick and mortar entity like Title Max has stores you could drive by, oh man, I need to make my payment. We're just kind of this virtual collection agency floating around. Don't forget to make your payment. I'm sending text messages and stuff. We ain't getting no kind of recoveries at all. I'm having to put cars out for repo every day. And I had a phone call with a young lady in July of 2013, one of our competitors. And the owner, Tim, says, you know, Victor, I want you to call every one of our competitors and see if any of them want to buy our remaining portfolio. 1,000 accounts left. I want to get rid of these things. I'm getting out the business. So, okay, I'll make some calls. Got on the phone with a young lady and probably spoke to her about 90 minutes on the phone. Shared some different strategies, systems I put in place, some development, some training that I did for the team, just things in case they did buy this portfolio, they will be able to get it to revive itself. She says, okay, Victor, I'm very intrigued by what you guys have done. I'm really happy with the success you have had, but I do see why you guys are getting out of business. You're just not charging enough. I'll call you back in 2 or 3 days, let you know what we decide to do. Well, she called back in 2 or 3 days, Victor, we're not buying that portfolio. We looked at it a little bit, doesn't look like it's gonna be worth much to us. However, it sounds like you're gonna need a job pretty soon. So we love the conversation we had with you. I'd love for you to run our call center. Wow, really? I'm making 70 grand a year. This job's gonna be flushed down the toilet in a month or 2. I think I'll take you up on that job. It's a good opportunity. Well, what happened was the call center was in Austin, Texas. I was living in Atlanta, Georgia. And to be honest with you, I had never heard of Austin, Texas. That's how limited my mind was.
I know.
I'm so sorry. All that great brisket down there, I ain't even heard about it. So Anyway, I decided to take the offer. It was a transition for our family because my youngest daughter at the time just got her first boyfriend in high school. I hate you. I gotta move to Texas and get away from my boyfriend. You're gonna live. It's gonna be okay. Trust me. Well, that job increased my earnings by $40,000 a year. We sold the house that I was in, and that basically the $20,000 I took away at the table cleared out my debt. And what did I do? So now I'm debt-free, new city, 40 grand extra in salary. Got to put that money to work, baby. I can't be the only one out here working for my retirement. My money has to work for me. So we started getting into real estate investing. This is the first deal, and I'm gonna walk you through it a little bit. So I used, in this particular deal, I finally scraped up $12,000 of cash, first time in my life. Maybe it was about a total of 15 once we got to everything. First time in my life. Can you imagine me coming home, got the money saved up, credit looking good? Hey, baby, I want to buy this ugly house in San Antonio and spend all of our $12,000 in saving. Isn't it exciting? She's like, bruh, are you crazy? Get out of here. We're not doing that. A couple more days, took her to dinner, bought her some flowers. I want to put this $12,000 into this rental property. I really see it. I know it's going to work. Well, here's what happened. I went and found a hard money lender, very expensive money, but they put up the entire $82,400 for me. They put up an additional $10,000 in rehab money. I did have to put up about 5 grand of my own. Well, it was about 10 grand, and then I put up 5 in closing costs. So my total out of pocket was 15 grand on that deal. 2 years into it, I collected $26,400 in rent, and the mortgage on that over those 2 years was $16,000. So over 2 years, I did pocket $10,600. And if you're looking at, you want to do the quick math, it's about $430 in cash flow each month after I invested that initial $12,000, $15,000. So I took away that 10 on the profit, sold the property November 2017 for $128,000. Again, we bought it at 82. So it was an expensive loan with the closing costs, $95,000. We still walked away at closing $33,000. You add that to the 10 that I already had, $43,000. On my 15 grand out of pocket, almost 300% return on my cash-on-cash investment. Now, this is not a traditional deal, so don't get excited. I know everybody's salivating over the deal, but what it did do is introduce me to a whole new world of real estate investing. Because not only did I make my cash flow, but as you see, the value went up tremendously in that 2-year period, $40,000. And so in Texas, and actually I have a slide I'm going to show you in a moment, across the country, we're seeing appreciation rates at about 5.5%. You guys live in Texas, in Dallas, Texas. 9.9% appreciation on real estate the last 12 months, from July to July. Might be something to consider. So what does your future look like? You trying to get a new house, a big old house so your family can come see you? You want to go out to the Naxos Islands? Anybody heard of Naxos Islands? It's in Greece. Oh my God, I want to go there so bad. There was a financial advisor here, John, I can't remember his name, we were talking about the other day, and I mentioned him. He's like, where's your dream place you want to go to? I want to go to the Naxos Islands, bless you, in Greece. They got all this beautiful vegetation and stuff. He said, man, I was just there last year. Anyway, so what does your future look like? Or maybe you just want to see your kids graduate college, put them through college, be able to finance their future. Maybe that's what you want to do. I know some of you in this room just want to retire, be like Frank. Wow. That's it. That's what I'm trying to aspire to be, right? So whatever you got, whatever you're pursuing, you got to stay locked in on it every day, locked in on that vision. And that's what I did. I started putting affirmations on my goals, putting pictures up in my mirror, putting them in my screensaver, on my laptop. I got dialed into where I wanted to be in life. And I'm going to share an even funnier story with you. Some of you may be old enough to remember, or maybe even had a Motorola BlackBerry. Anybody ever heard of that? In 2011, I was working for a company. It was a collection agency, it was a law firm, but I was a middle manager. I think I was making probably by now maybe 55 grand a year or something like that. But all of the people that were making the good money were sitting there in the next level getting paid, and they all had those Motorola BlackBerries. And for me, that's all I needed. I just wanted the Motorola BlackBerry because that would suggest that now I am at a higher level of pay. I can walk in with a briefcase, look at my BlackBerry, and go to my meeting. Well, unfortunately, the BlackBerry phased out, but I did get one before it phased out, and I did get my promotion and I moved up. But I was the guy at 22 years old going to work dressed in old, beat up Goodwill shirts and ties and all of that kind of stuff. So I was trying to project who I wanted to be later in life. And ultimately, I ended up living that life. So I want to just real quickly run through, because I got 5 minutes. We talked about the appreciation rate in Texas, but here are the benefits to me of renting, of buying rental properties. Monthly cash flow, in the average in the country right now, $1,492. If you have a mortgage for a little property of 1,500 square feet, you're probably paying $800, $900 a month. So if you buy a house, a rental property, and rent it out, you're probably gonna make a really good cash flow on that. There's always the equity capture. So we always buy properties that are wholesale, put a few dollars into them, boost that appreciation up, we force the value up. The national rate is gonna give you an additional appreciation rate. And then of course there's the tax benefits. Now you speak to your own tax professionals, but I will tell you that there's something called a 1031 exchange that will allow you to roll that money into new transactions, real estate transactions. Or if you keep the property like I do for a year and 1 day, there are some benefits where you don't pay those capital gains taxes. So that to me is the sweetest deal going. And then there's what you call a bread and butter deal. You buy a house that's worth 100 grand, you buy it at 50 grand, put a few property updates in there, maybe 25 grand, a reno investment total is now 75 grand. You might have to use some more expensive money to borrow it, some cash out of pocket, you market it, lease it, start cash flowing. Pretty simple as that. You know, that's a standard deal. Now I will tell you in Dallas, when you see that deal pop up, if you haven't made an offer 20 seconds later, it's already gone, okay? So just keep that in mind. Here are the things that I do now. I teach people how to invest in rental properties. I teach people how to improve their credit scores. And all I want to do is be your trusted credit repair agent or help you with a real estate transaction or just give you some good information to help you push up the cash value of your retirement fund. However I can help you, I know many of you have clients that do that. So if there's anything that I can do, this is my contact information. I really appreciate you guys listening to me today and hearing my story because now again, I'm living my dream. I'm in a situation where I can speak to people for a living. I can sleep at night knowing that my rents are coming in. I'm good. This is a payday week. You know, it's first of the month coming up, so come Monday, baby, we'll be sitting pretty, you know, but that's what we do. I get a chance. Monday was the best day of my life. Why was it the best day of my life? Monday, I got a chance to go play golf with a bunch of Dallas-Fort Worth minority business owners. Made some great connections there. I got a chance to help several of my clients in their credit repair. I signed on 3 new clients. I came up here and spoke to Frank's group about credit restoration and whatnot. I left there, serviced 2 more clients, and did a Facebook Live to share information with 400 viewers about how they can improve their credit and get business credit going. That's the life that I want to live. And I can do that, set my schedule, live my life. So again, what are you doing to create your future self? Because this is what I did. And if I can help you, I'd love to be there. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it.